ARCA has a reputation for being filled with crashes, a lot of which can be avoided. That typically comes with younger or inexperienced drivers making up most of the drivers in the series. Today, we're going to take a look at 10 of the scariest crashes in ARCA from the last 25 years. Right before we get into the video, make sure you guys leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already. Currently trying to reach 10,000 subscribers, so if you could help me along, that would be greatly appreciated. Anyway, let's get right into it.
At 17, he drops in behind him, and around we go. Lap number 2. 35 of Nelson Canach. And cars flying in their way too quickly, making contact, one of them being Larry Barford Jr. in the 04.
A lot of damage to Larry's car. There were a couple cars that hit Nelson after he spun. I think Larry was the second car that came along that hit him.
Nelson Canach lost it all on his own entering turn 3 at Michigan. As Canach spun down the track, drivers had to decide whether to go high or go low to try to avoid him. Tom Hessert tried to squeeze by on the inside, but nearly shredded the right side of his car off. Larry Barford also tried to go on the inside, and it ended up far worse than Hessert. Barford hit Canach, then hit the outside wall. Barford's impact to the outside wall wasn't caught on camera, but his driver's side door was pancaked.
Tom Hessert, Grant Enfinger side by side. Grant trying to side draft a little bit off. Ooh, around it goes. Austin Wayne Self
in the 98. Look out, back across the track. Big crash as they come toward the start-finish line. Oh my goodness, what a hit.
Austin Wayne Self just got a little loose through the trioval, but that was enough to get him into the side of Cody Coughlin. From there, Self was along for the ride. He tried to make a save, but instead his nose caught the left front of Brad Smith's car. This resulted in an apparent stuck throttle and caused a massive hit to the inside wall. Smith was able to get out and walk to a stretcher under his own power, but needed surgery on both ankles after the wreck.
Oh, he slid all the way up. A fire erupts on the car, back into the wall a second time. And now he slides across. Is there another wall to hit? Yes, and the car up on the right side comes back down and finally slides to a stop. What a wild ride for car number 70, Billy Muael.
Billy Muael had a wild introduction to ARCA in his series debut at Texas in 1998. Something clearly broke on his car, and after hitting the outside wall, his car burst into flames. His second hit was even harder and sent his car straight to the inside wall. Finally, Billy smacked the inside wall with his driver's side door and nearly flipped over. At this time, safer barriers were not fully developed, so he was very lucky to survive those 3 massive hits. It's no wonder ARCA didn't go back to Texas again until the 2010 season.
On Matt Hunter. So this should allow these other cars to. Oh, man. Heavy hit. Mark Gibson.
Heavy impact. Looks like Mark Gibson's car has come off the corners and come across the racetrack.
That's the way I got it. All right, we got 28 laps down. 28 laps down. I don't know if they're going to get 29 complete when you get back.
Just tremendous impact.
Later in 1998, Mark Gibson had an equally terrifying crash. After hitting the outside wall coming off turn 4, Gibson's car wouldn't slow down and smashed into the inside wall. Mark was life-flighted to a nearby hospital, but ultimately only suffered a major concussion, a knee injury, and a broken wrist. Despite the wreck, he wouldn't miss a single race and go on to finish second in the championship.
Make an adjustment will now have an opportunity as caution is being shown once again here at Daytona.
Well, with a couple of cars involved in what appears to be a major incident here. The number 64 machine of Michael Dokken is involved, and I believe
green car.
Yeah, maybe Mark Thompson will not speculate too much on that, but it is a green car that has crashed on the backstretch here at Daytona.
On lap 31 of ARCA's opening race at Daytona, Mark Thompson had one of the scariest rides imaginable. After being flipped on his roof, his car cut the grass, which made him start barrel rolling and flipping end over end. By the time his car came to rest, there was almost nothing left. Thompson suffered broken ribs and a concussion. He was 44 years old at the time of this crash in 1992, but continued to find rides for Daytona or Talladega until 2018. On only the second lap, Jimmy Henderson had this crash that was eerily similar to Dave Marcus's crash a couple years before.
Turn number 1, take me through it, guys.
You see, they got together right there with Jason Jarrett, car sliding.
Typically, what we see here a lot of times, a car gets a little bit sideways, you correct to the right, and then a vicious hit. Whenever those cars come off the ground like that, that is a lot of force.
Look at the radiator sliding right in front of the car that came right out of the car in the initial impact.
The full-speed replay is just hard to watch. Additionally, his car came back down the track in a hurry and was nearly hit by oncoming traffic. This race was a part of a weekend doubleheader for the ARCA series in 2003, something that they did a couple of times in the mid-90s. The Cup Series tried it in 2021 as well. It's kind of odd that Pocono seems like the one track willing to give this a shot every once in a while.
Oh my God. Really washed it. Oh.
Andy Farr impacts the wall coming out of turn number 4.
In qualifying for the 1994 ARCA 200, Andy Farr was attempting to qualify for his first ever ARCA race. He just lost it in turn 4 and started to spin to the apron. He tried to catch it, but overcorrected way too much. As soon as his car started coming back on the racetrack, it started to flip and managed to hit the turn 4 wall with the top of his hood first. Upon impact, the entire front of his car came off and tore 75 feet of catch fencing down. Farr luckily escaped with only a broken sternum.
Also, Reed Sorensen. Oh, trouble. See, oh, wow. Chad McCombie in the number 10 for Andy Hillenberg Racing goes end over end over end.
Chad McCombie, like a couple others on this list, had a rude awakening in his first start in ARCA. C.W. Smith went for a spin and hit the outside wall, and Chad used the front of his car as a ramp and started tumbling. He rolled 6 times before finally coming to a stop. This was Chad's only start in 2004, but returned for a full-time season in 2005.
And we're going to see a lot of that. I mean, guys will drop 5, 6 spots in one lap. And problems behind our leaders. The 11 getting into the wall hard. That's Brian Silas, as well as the 78 having troubles with Doug Reed. Wow. And that was a hard hit by Brian Silas in that number 11.
Brian Silas was spun off turn 4, and Doug Reed was unable to avoid him. Reed hit Silas and got him airborne. Silas hit the inside wall that was jutting out to have a gap for emergency vehicles. As we have seen many times, this wall led to a much bigger crash than if the wall was in its normal spot. Brian hit the wall and flew airborne for a second time in the same crash. Silas crashed out in 4 of his first 6 races in his debut season. The theme would continue into his first full-time season as he crashed out in 7 of the 23 races. Anyway guys, that's it for this video. I hope you did enjoy. If you did, make sure you leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already. Anyway, I'll see you in the next one. Peace.